Death threats, accidents, and killings don't just happen to politicians and celebrities. Football players are familiar with this kind of danger as well. If you want to know more, then don't go anywhere as we are about to start. But before we begin, make sure to click the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell for more updates. You are watching Luxury Life, the right channel that will feed your luxury appetite. Messi, together with Team Argentina, once went to Brazil for a long-awaited matchup. The entire team was so excited for that match, but things didn't turn out as expected. They suffered a 3-0 loss, and the whole team wanted to leave immediately out of embarrassment. They no longer waited for Messi's private jet to arrive. They rode on Bolivian Lamia's last-minute flight. Riding on a plane isn't an unusual thing for the team. It's something that they constantly do whenever they have games in other countries. But the smooth plane ride didn't go so smoothly after a few hours. As the plane passed by Buenos Aires, the plane experienced some issues that caused turbulence. The routine flight turned into a very dangerous one. The plane already flew 20 minutes past its fuel capacity, and the pilot had an 18-minute window to land the plane, or else things would get worse. The pilot radioed everywhere until he found a landing spot. As the plane made its landing, Messi and the whole team immediately went out, and they didn't have enough time to take in the whole situation, as they needed to get to another country by dawn. So they got into another flight, which they later on discovered was a lucky flight. The Bolivian Lamia took off right after it refueled, and this time it never reached its destination, and its 75 passengers were killed. We can all agree that Messi and his team experienced luck that time, but I guess Neymar just can't say the same thing. When Neymar received his first big paycheck, the first thing that he did was go to a Ferrari and spend $275,000 on a Ferrari Spider. A few weeks after purchasing the car, they had a game and he was awakened by his teammates telling him to go as fast as he could because the club wanted them to do a few reps at their practice facility. Because of the sudden schedule, Neymar rushed to his car, drove as fast as he could without checking the weather for that day. While driving, Neymar was already picturing out how he would play the game, the goals that he would make, and how to give his fans the performance they deserve. What he failed to picture out was buying a different tire fit for the rainy weather. Next thing he knew, he was already sprawled out from a totally wrecked Ferrari. But since he is a dedicated man, he still managed to make it to the practice while being the center of the headlines. How about you? Did you have an experience where you thought it was the end for you, but you still managed to make it out alive and well? Share it in the comment section. Do you remember Peter Manx? Peter is one of Sweden's most notorious criminals and went on a 7-year killing spree. His murderous plans ended as the detectives caught him and went on a deep and thorough investigation. Peter isn't the type of criminal who would deny his nasty deeds. He honestly told the detectives all of his plans. And one of those was his desire to kill Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Zlatan is one of Sweden's most beloved and top football players who also gained the admiration of Peter Manx. However, Peter's admiration isn't like the other fans. He wanted Zlatan to be his next victim. He studied and analyzed Zlatan's every move, and he even confessed that he has been in the shadows observing Zlatan. One day, he saw Zlatan park his expensive car in the middle of the street. Peter saw that as the perfect opportunity. He went home, grabbed a weapon, but he never thought of using it on the car. He wanted to use it to end Zlatan's life. Unfortunately for him, Zlatan was no longer there when he came back. Peter was given a life imprisonment, and Zlatan now lives worry-free. However, Dele Alli can't say the same thing. When he bought a $2 million mansion and had security 24/7, He thought his life was already safe. During that time, his teammates have become victims of robberies. So Ali wanted to protect himself and hired security to guard him all the time. But what he didn't know is that he has already been under the radar of the robbers and they have already been watching him. One night, while he was playing pool, the robbers broke into his home, caught him, beat him, and he couldn't fight back because they had knives. They searched for Ali's jewelry collection and left with $300,000. He may have lost his jewelry, but thankfully, he didn't lose his life. Have you ever been in a life or death situation? What did you do and how did you cope with it? Let us know in the comment section, and do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell for more updates. When Thiago Silva was 19 years old, he frequently traveled as he aimed to become the best football player in the league. After a trip from Thailand, he suddenly started feeling sick. His forehead and hands became sweaty and he had a cough. He thought it wasn't serious, so he didn't bother seeing the doctor. But a few days later, the symptoms worsened and he had a hard time walking, running, and even breathing. It was only at that time that the people around him decided to rush him to the hospital. The doctors found out that his lungs were already covered with bacteria. And had he not gone to the hospital, he'd only have 2 weeks to live. The only remedy was to take a portion of his lungs, but that portion is greatly needed for him to become the greatest football player. The decision was tough. It was a decision between his life and doing the one thing he greatly loves. Later on, Thiago went on with the surgery and had his family's full support even in his recovery phase. Thiago decided that he wasn't gonna lie down and regret his life. He took baby steps and dedicated his life to football. After a game, Cristiano Ronaldo decided to impress his girl, and they rode in his new Audi R8. What he didn't expect was the police pulling him over and asking for his papers. Things went crazy when instead of handing over his papers, he simply asked the police, "Do you not know who I am?" He was then asked to step out of the car. Many fans saw and rushed to the scene, until one hater made a remark in front of everyone that he wanted to kill Ronaldo. Instead of cuffing Ronaldo, they asked him to leave and arrested a man who publicly made a death threat. That's it for today's video. This is Luxury Life, the right channel that will feed your luxury appetite. Thank you for watching.